My sister Mia and I have only a year between us in age. She's 26 and I'm 27. From childhood, she openly admitted her jealousy and dislike for me, which saddened me deeply as she was my only sibling, whom I both loved and admired. Despite her feelings, I always looked up to her and sought closeness, but she remained distant. When in good spirits, Mia was an incredible sister, fun, creative, and lively. However, during conflicts, she would turn harsh, resorting to physical aggressions like punching, pushing, or hair-pulling, which our parents condemned, especially given she was the older one. Mia's vibrant personality shone through her passions for the arts. Trip. Our academic paths overlapped when I, demonstrating advanced capabilities, was started early in school by our mother, putting us in the same grade but fortunately different classrooms. Mia perceived this as a rivalry, though academically I was merely average, securing mostly Joes and Roes in contrast to the more common Aos and Joes among our peers. Her talents lay elsewhere, in art, drama, bakery, cooking. I, on the other hand, developed a love for the violin and languages, dabbling in Russia and China. Mia was deeply involved in our school's drama department until a significant incident. She was expelled from the drama team after physically attacking a teammate who was involved with her boyfriend, even setting the girl's bag on fire. Although our parents managed to mitigate the consequences, Mia had to repeat 13th grade, leading to strained family relationships and a period of strict discipline. The most tumultuous aspect of my relationship with Mia involved my romantic life. My longest relationship lasted only 7 months, consistently sabotaged by her interference. A memorable relationship with William ended abruptly after 4 months when he blocked me on all communication platforms without explanation. Confronting him revealed Mia had been feeding him fabricated stories about me, casting doubts that eventually led William to end our relationship, unwilling to deal with the drama surrounding my sister. The climax of Mia's destructive tendencies came during my baby shower. In a shocking move, she announced fake paternity test results attempting to disgrace me, only for the situation to take an unexpected turn as her husband served her with divorce papers in front of all the guests. This public debacle underscored the depth of her issues and the impact of her actions on her own life and relationships. Afterward, during a heated confrontation, Mia confessed her deep-seated insecurities and jealousy towards me, acknowledging her deliberate attempts to ruin my relationships out of spite and a misguided sense of competition. This revelation was painful yet illuminating, highlighting the complex dynamics of sibling rivalry and the profound effects of jealousy and insecurity. She concocted those falsehoods to push him away from me, and I was infuriated by her behavior. It became abundantly clear that her actions stemmed from her own unresolved feelings of jealousy. My parents scolded her, highlighting the wrongness of her actions. However, Mia appeared indifferent because she ultimately achieved her aim. William and I ended our relationship. This episode marked a significant turning point in my life, compelling me to contemplate distancing myself from her. It was a harsh realization that for me to foster a healthy and enduring romantic relationship, I needed to keep her at a distance. We both harbored ambitions of studying abroad. Although Mia had great potential, it seemed her fears or inadequate personal research influenced her decision to study computer science locally, adhering to our father's suggestion. Observing this, I resolved not to let my parents dictate my future. I dedicated myself to earning a scholarship to study overseas. Despite my endeavours, financial limitations hindered my initial plans, leading me to start my university education locally in my chosen field. Nevertheless, after a year, my resolve to study abroad remained firm, and I continued to explore opportunities. Eventually, I secured a scholarship and was able to relocate overseas to resume my studies. My departure saddened my parents. On my final night at home, Mia apologized for her past actions towards me since our childhood. Perhaps her apology was motivated by my imminent departure, which would leave her alone with our parents. Desiring to avoid further conflict, I forgave her. My time studying abroad was transformative. I lost weight, made new friends, developed my personal style, and gained confidence. Graduating was a significant achievement, although the following year was challenging as I struggled to find a job. Eventually, I secured a good position and settled down. Meanwhile, back home, Mia completed her bachelor's degree. She expressed a desire to pursue her master's in the country where I was living, so I supported her efforts. Despite her numerous applications for scholarships, she faced repeated rejections, which frustrated her. During a visit, she stayed with me for 10 days. During her stay, I noticed how she made snide remarks about my appearance, but I chose to ignore them. It was peculiar how she attempted to dictate my attire and conduct in public. When I introduced her to my friends, she disapproved of them, suggesting I find better company. There were moments when I enjoyed myself with my friends, only for her mood to inexplicably sour. I took her to my workplace, and she was taken aback by the size of my office. I shared my excitement about the opportunities I was encountering, but she quickly turned the conversation towards herself, expressing envy and regret over her past decisions. Later, during dinner, she expressed a desire to extend her stay with me, but given her critical nature, I politely suggested she find other accommodations if she wished to stay longer. This was when Mia lost her composure, yelling about how tired she was of being compared to me and feeling that her own achievements were never acknowledged enough. I calmly explained to Mia that I never sought to belittle her. Rather, it was she who often made me feel inferior. Mia retorted that I wasn't anything exceptional and claimed she could have achieved the same things if given similar opportunities. I pointed out that we both had the same starting points and that my scholarships and academic achievements were the results of my own hard work, not preferential treatment. Her response was harsh. She called me a spoiled brat and wished I had never been born. Her words were so hurtful that I left the table and locked myself in my room. 5 days later, Mia returned home without offering an apology, and I felt a profound sense of relief in her absence. Over the years, it had become clear how much we had both changed, and I found myself increasingly uncomfortable in her presence. During this time, I met Michael, who worked in the same industry as me. We connected over mutual interests and friends, and what I thought would be a simple friendship quickly turned into more when he asked me out. After 3 years together, Michael proposed, and I joyfully accepted. We became close with each other's families despite the distance, bonding over video calls and plans for our future together. An exciting job opportunity then arose, offering double my current salary but requiring a move back to my home country. Michael and I discussed it thoroughly and agreed it was too good to pass up, so I accepted the position. Moving back, my parents warmly welcomed Michael, quickly integrating him into the family, including golf Sundays with my dad. Meanwhile, Mia kept her distance. She avoided meeting me or Michael, concocting excuses whenever our parents tried to arrange gatherings. Given our strained history, I understood her reluctance and was honestly relieved, fearing she might attempt to undermine this relationship as she had with previous ones. Michael and I planned a small and intimate wedding in my parents' spacious backyard, wanting only close family and friends to join us. It was a beautiful ceremony filled with heartfelt speeches and abundant love, although Mia was noticeably absent, allegedly due to illness. Following a joyful celebration and a brief honeymoon, we returned, and I was sharing our wedding photos with my mum when Mia unexpectedly visited. As I reminisced about the happiness our grandparents expressed at the wedding, Mia interrupted, insinuating financial troubles on our part. I laughed off her suggestion, sharing the good news about my substantial new job and Michael's success. She sarcastically questioned the modesty of our wedding venue, to which my mum quickly defended the decision, emphasizing the personal significance and our preference for simplicity despite our means. I reassured Mia that Michael and I valued modest living and wise financial stewardship over extravagance. Frustrated by our contentment, Mia accused me of showing off and lying about our financial well-being. I calmly responded that there was no need to boast, especially not to her, emphasizing that our choices were based on our values, not our bank accounts. I pointed out to Mia that we weren't children anymore and that she needed to mature and stop making up stories about me. I expressed that it was for these reasons I was relieved she hadn't attended my wedding. This upset her greatly, and she left in tears. Although my mother tried to calm things down, Mia wouldn't hear it. Later, she spread her version of our argument to my grandparents and some cousins. I reached out with a text to apologize, but she didn't respond. Over the years, I've mostly kept my distance, though there have been some brighter moments. When Michael met Mia, he instantly felt uneasy around her, largely because she often mocked him. For instance, she teased us for liking Disney movies, which she considered dull, and insinuated that Michael was less of a man for enjoying them. I was deeply offended by her comments, but she eventually apologized to both me and Michael. Mia has also repeatedly hinted to my mother that she believes Michael is too controlling over my life. When confronted, Mia admitted that she simply had a bad feeling about him. One day, while having lunch at my place, Mia complained about her boyfriend John, who had moved in with her but lost his job 4 months later and hadn't contributed to the household since. I suggested she might need to reconsider their living arrangement if he wasn't contributing. Mia retorted by pointing out that I earned more than Michael and questioned if I should also kick him out. I clarified that while it was true I earned more, Michael was still financially contributing significantly to our household, unlike John. My mother supported this, noting how Michael had even sacrificed his career prospects so I could pursue my high-paying job. Mia reacted negatively, suggesting that it was inappropriate for a man to earn less in a relationship. I countered that not every man has the fragile ego of those she's dated. Michael supports me for who I am, not what I earn. Unfortunately, Mia didn't take this well and later married John, despite his ongoing unemployment and temper issues. Their wedding was marred by an incident where a drunken John caused a scene, which was both embarrassing and alarming. Over time, Mia and John's relationship appeared increasingly volatile, often resulting in John kicking her out during arguments, forcing her to stay at our parents' home. My parents are worried about her, but Mia remains closed off from discussing her issues with them. We later learned from John's mother that Mia had allegedly been unfaithful with a co-worker, which only added to their strained relationship. Despite my concerns, I've learned to stay out of her personal matters, knowing she's unlikely to heed my advice. During a particularly tumultuous period in Mia and John's marriage, they had a massive fight, but ultimately decided to work through their issues by starting couples counseling. Around this time, I discovered I was pregnant. Michael and I were ecstatic, and my parents were thrilled about the prospect of becoming grandparents. They reassured me of their unwavering support throughout my pregnancy. When Mia found out about my pregnancy, she inquired about the baby names Michael and I were considering and offered her help in choosing one. Knowing her tendency to be overly critical, I declined to discuss any names with her, explaining that we intended to keep our choices private until the baby's birth. Mia objected, insisting it was a bad idea, and suggesting we should consult with other family members to select the best name for our baby. I firmly told her we preferred not to have outside opinions on this matter, as we wanted to make the decision ourselves. For the baby shower, I entrusted the planning to my mother, who I knew would respect my wishes. I specifically requested no gifts since we hadn't revealed the baby's gender, and wanted the event to focus on celebrating with close friends and gaining some motherhood insights. On the day of the shower, everything was perfect, just close friends and thoughtful, non-alcoholic beverages. That was until Mia arrived wearing a godmother-to-be shirt, surprising everyone, myself included, since I had no intention of making her the godmother. Her assumption created an awkward situation as she went around expressing her excitement about a role she had never been offered. Later that day, as we gathered to reveal the baby's gender, the atmosphere was full of joy. Michael and I cut the cake together and were overjoyed to learn we were having a boy. My friends surrounded us with hugs and congratulations. However, Mia interrupted this happy moment by standing up to make an important announcement. She dramatically held up a document, claiming it was a paternity test showing Michael was not the father of our baby. The room fell silent, and Michael, disturbed and confused, turned to me for answers. I was in shock, but before I could respond, my mother intervened. She demanded Mia explain her outrageous claim. Grabbing the document, my mother immediately pointed out the mother's name wasn't even mine. Mia then burst out laughing, admitting she had downloaded a fake paternity test to make a point. She claimed she wanted to expose Michael as abusive, which was absurd since Michael had always been kind and respectful to me. Mia tried to justify her actions by suggesting Michael must be secretly controlling because he was content with me earning more than him. She cited fabricated instances of his supposed anger, but her arguments were baseless and did nothing but reveal her own prejudices and insecurities. As the room reacted with shock and disbelief, I confronted Mia, questioning her sanity and motives. Her actions were not only hurtful, but also dangerous, potentially damaging the trust and peace within our family. This incident further strained our already fragile relationship, and it became clear that Mia's personal issues were deep-seated, affecting not just her own life, but also those around her in profoundly negative ways. At the baby shower, the atmosphere suddenly tensed when I confronted Mia about her outrageous claim that my child wasn't Michael's. I couldn't hold back my frustration anymore and raised my voice to express how humiliated I felt. I made it clear to everyone that my husband had never mistreated me, contrary to what Mia had suggested, and accused her of projecting her insecurities onto me. Mia's face turned a deep shade of red as I continued, openly calling her out for her lifelong jealousy and the disgraceful way she chose to disrupt my baby shower. I recounted instances when she had spread lies about me to my past boyfriends, exposing her pattern of behavior to our family and friends. While Mia stood there, visibly embarrassed, my mother rebuked her for crossing the line this time. In the midst of the tense silence, John, Mia's usually quiet husband, stood up and approached her. To everyone's shock, he handed her a set of papers. The room's discomfort escalated to chaos as people began whispering and questioning what was happening. John then announced that their marriage counselling wasn't working, acknowledging their toxic relationship and revealing his decision to divorce her. He expressed that he couldn't stand to go home with her after another public spectacle, and he walked out of the baby shower, leaving a stunned Mia holding the divorce papers. The celebratory atmosphere had shifted dramatically, now filled with a somber tension. The joyous event had taken a turn for the worse, and as the reality of the situation sank in, I decided I had enough. I asked Michael to take me away from the gathering. He readily agreed, and I said my goodbyes, with my mother promising to check in on me later. Mia tried to approach and apologize, but I couldn't even bring myself to look at her. Since the incident, my mind has been spinning. Many guests were shocked, and I've received numerous calls from people expressing their concern. Some informed me that after I left, Mia had broken down in tears and my parents had asked her to leave, unwilling to hear her excuses. I feel pity for Mia, seeing her lose not only her husband, but also the support of me and my parents. Yet, I can't help but feel guilty for shouting at her, even though it felt justified at the moment due to her fabricated paternity test. Was it wrong to expose her jealousy so publicly after her deceptive attempt? Since sharing my story, the outpouring of empathy, advice, and shared experiences from the online community has been truly overwhelming. I am deeply touched by the support and sense of community provided through these interactions. I had never shared anything on Reddit before, but the recent upheaval with my sister compelled me to seek an external viewpoint. The truth is, her actions were not only strange, but also deeply hurtful, prompting many of you to suggest professional help for her. I've also realized the need to discuss this with my parents and to distance myself from her permanently. Her behavior is not something I can tolerate around my child. After discussing the situation with my parents, we all agreed that cutting ties with my sister Mia was the necessary course of action. Mia, showing no remorse, has been spreading stories, claiming I overreacted to her prank at the baby shower and embarrassed her in front of her husband, which she believes led to their divorce. John, her ex-husband, has since spoken to my parents, apologizing for past misunderstandings and clarifying that he wasn't abusing Mia. Instead, it was Mia who would become violent during their arguments, posing a physical threat to him. This was a shocking revelation, as we had always assumed John was the aggressor. He even shared evidence of injuries she inflicted, like a broken nose and a black eye. John's restraint in not involving the police likely spared Mia severe legal consequences. Given their toxic relationship, their divorce seems like a positive development. My parents have firmly told Mia she's no longer welcome at our homes. Despite her tears, my mum, still furious about the baby shower incident, warned her against coming near me or my child, threatening a restraining order if necessary. We've urged Mia to seek psychiatric help, but she refuses, accusing our parents of favouring me unfairly. For our safety, Michael and I have cut off all contact with her and installed security cameras at our home to ensure she doesn't approach us. I've recently given birth to a baby boy. The pregnancy was challenging, but it's a joy to finally meet our son. Our home is now filled with his laughter and cries, and Michael and I are embracing our new roles as parents. Despite the sleepless nights, we're loving every moment with him. My parents have been incredibly supportive, helping us daily as we navigate parenthood. Michael's parents are planning to visit next month. Mia has kept her distance throughout this period. The last I heard, she divorced John and moved to another city, possibly seeking a fresh start. While it saddens me that she can't be part of our celebration, my priority is to protect our son. Her absence, though painful, is necessary for the well-being of our family.